The envelope arrived on the morning of her eviction. Eloise Granger found it wedged beneath the cracked door of her flat, ivory parchment sealed with a wax crest she didn't recognize. A serpent curled around a crescent moon. Her hands trembled before she even opened it. And when she did, the message inside chilled her to the marrow. To Miss Eloise Granger, you are hereby summoned to Hollow House in Black Hollow for the reading of the last will and testament of Mortimer Hollow. You are the sole heir. Attendance is not a request. Eloise read it again. She didn't know a Mortimer Hollow. She didn't know anyone in Yorkshire. She had no family, no history, just the kind of forgettable existence that made her feel invisible even to herself. And yet, beneath the ink, she saw something strange. Her own name seemed older, like it had been written before she was born. She almost burned the letter. Instead, she packed a bag. Outside, the wind howled through the alley like it was chasing something that had finally found her. Black Hollow wasn't on any map Eloise could find. She had to ask 4 different taxi drivers before one would take her even close. Last stop's the stone arch, he said. You'll have to walk from there. The road doesn't like cars. What do you mean the road doesn't like? The door shut before she could finish. The cab peeled away. The village beyond the arch looked as though it had died a century ago and hadn't realized it. Crumbling stone cottages leaned into each other like gossiping corpses. No lights, no birds, just fog, thick and low, clinging to the cobblestone like mold. Everyone she passed turned away. Eloise didn't stop walking until the trees grew taller than houses, until even the sky seemed to forget her. Then she saw it. Hollow House. It stood at the top of a narrow hill, crooked and looming, its dark stone facade soaked in shadow despite the late afternoon light. The iron gate was twisted, bent in a way that suggested something had come through it and hadn't been human. As she reached for it, something moved in the upstairs window and watched her. The gate opened with a groan that sounded too much like a scream. Inside the grounds, everything was too quiet. The grass was dry and brittle under her boots, and the trees whispered in a language she couldn't understand. The front door opened before she knocked. A man stood there, tall, gray-suited, with skin so pale it looked powdered. He didn't smile. He didn't blink. "Miss Granger," he said, "we've been expecting you." "I didn't even say. You are late." She followed him into the house. It smelled like time. Dust, rotting wood, and something else, something sweet and metallic. Blood, maybe. Old blood. Paintings lined the corridor. Not portraits, paintings. Stark, brutal scenes of fires, storms, weeping children, and a black-eyed woman who appeared in more than one canvas. Her face looked disturbingly familiar. At the end of the hall, four people waited. "Eloise," said the oldest, a tall, silver-haired woman seated like a queen. "How lovely to see the hollow blood walking again." "I don't know you," Eloise said. "You will." The woman pointed to Eloise's hand. She looked down and froze. A crescent-shaped scar she had never noticed before pulsed beneath her skin. The woman's name was Helena Hollow. The others, Edward, Lillian, and a boy named Thomas, sat in eerie silence, like wax figures animated by boredom. "You've inherited everything," Helena said. "The house, the land, the vault." Eloise blinked. "Vault? No one's opened it in 100 years. Only the last of the bloodline can." "I'm not a hollow." Helena smiled in a way that made her feel like a mouse being told it was part of the trap. "The blood doesn't care what name you wear." That night, Eloise lay in a canopy bed too large, too cold. Every creak in the floorboards sounded deliberate. Every gust through the chimney felt like breathing. At 1:13 a.m., she heard it. A knock, not at the door, from inside the wall. She pressed her ear to the wood. 3 slow, measured taps. She didn't sleep. By dawn, something had been scratched into the mirror across the room. "She's not dead." She followed the sound of laughter. Not human laughter, not quite. Childish but warped, like something pretending to be a child. It led her to the second floor, to a door slightly ajar. Behind it, a nursery untouched by time. Dolls lined the shelves, heads tilted unnaturally. A mobile spun above the crib, though there was no breeze. Eloise didn't move, but the room seemed to inch closer. On the far wall hung a mirror, dustless despite the decay around it. She stepped forward. In its reflection, the nursery was wrong. Burned, blackened. The dolls were eyeless. The crib was empty, and behind her stood a girl. Gray dress, hollow eyes. Eloise turned. No one. Back to the mirror. The girl was closer, mouth open now, screaming without sound. The mirror cracked, and from behind her, the mobile stopped spinning. Eloise told Helena what she saw. Helena didn't flinch. They always find the new blood first. Who are they? Not who, Helena said. What? Mr. Renwick appeared at the parlor door with a rusted iron key. It's time. For what? Eloise whispered. The vault, he replied. It was in the cellar. A door sealed in iron, etched with symbols that pulsed when Eloise stepped near. Her hand reached out without permission. The key slid in like it had been waiting. Inside the vault, the air was colder than death. Candles lit themselves, and on the far wall was a mirror taller than the others, covered by a red shroud. Mortimer left you something, Helena said behind her. His last message. Why do I feel like this isn't a gift? Helena didn't answer. Eloise stepped forward and pulled the shroud free. The mirror reflected everything, except her. Eloise stared into the mirror, heart pounding. The vault flickered with candlelight, but her reflection was gone, vanished. The stone floor behind her, the vaulted ceiling, the dust in the air. It was all there in the glass, all of it except her. Helena approached slowly. Now do you understand? I'm not in it, Eloise said, backing away. Why am I not in it? Because you're not whole yet. The mirror rippled like water. Suddenly, another version of Eloise appeared. Same face, same clothes, but the eyes completely black. The reflection tilted its head, mimicking her fear. Then it smiled. Behind her, the vault door slammed shut. Renwick was gone. Helena too. Eloise was alone in the vault, the air now thick as syrup. The candles dimmed, one by one, until only the glow from the mirror remained. Her reflection still smiled, wider now, mouth stretching too far, revealing teeth too many. Eloise backed into the wall. Then the reflection moved. Not mimicked, not copied. It moved first. It stepped closer to the glass while she remained still. It raised its hand, and so did Eloise, though she hadn't meant to. Their palms touched opposite sides of the mirror. Cold pierced her bones. Then the reflection spoke, but not in words. A voice bloomed in her skull. She's waiting beneath the house, and she remembers you. Eloise screamed. The lights flared. The vault door creaked open. Renwick stood in the hallway, unbothered. She's awake then, he said. The others were gathered in what Helena called the morning room, a long hall of velvet chairs and shuttered windows. The walls were painted black, the ceiling covered in silver stars that moved subtly when you weren't looking. You touched the mirror, Helena said. It wasn't a question. Eloise nodded. Then the veil is thinning. You'll see more now, hear more, feel more. What is she? Eloise asked. The girl in the nursery, the reflection, the voices. She was the first. Helena rose, walking to a faded portrait of a child with stitched lips. Mortimer's sister, Evelyn. She died in this house, or so they claimed. Edward cut in. No one really dies in Hollow House, not if they still have something to say. Eloise clutched her coat tighter. And what does she want to say? She wants you to let her out. In the dead of night, Eloise returned to the library. She couldn't sleep, not with the sound of whispering under the floorboards, or the way the house sighed after midnight, like it was waiting for something. The library was larger than she remembered. Shelves seemed to shift when she wasn't looking. A ladder had moved. A candle had been lit. On the desk was a book bound in dark leather, The Hollow Lineage. Her name was on the last page. Eloise Evelyn Hollow, her breath hitched. She flipped back through the pages. Names, hundreds of them, many crossed out. Some were written in red. Others had dates of birth, but no dates of death. Then she saw it. Mortimer Hollow, deceased. Evelyn Hollow, location. Mirrored realm. Status. Uncontained. A note below it, scrawled in frantic ink. If she finds a gate, she will walk again. Do not allow the gate to break. Seal the vault. Break the bloodline if needed. The candle beside her blew out. A girl's voice whispered, "Too late." Eloise tried to leave the house. She packed her bag before sunrise and rushed through the halls, past the shifting portraits, the creaking stairs. Every door she opened led somewhere new. The front door now opened into the library. The kitchen led to the attic. The nursery led to itself. She was trapped. On the fourth attempt, she found the entrance hall again. She sprinted to the door, twisted the lock, and the floor gave out beneath her. She fell. Not hard, not far. She landed in a hallway she hadn't seen before. No lights, just stone walls and an iron path lined with mirrors. Tall, tarnished things that groaned with age. Some were cracked. Others bled at the edges. Then she noticed something worse. The mirrors didn't reflect her. They reflected someone behind her. Eloise turned and saw nothing. At the end of the mirrored hallway was another door. Wood, but covered in carvings that moved like insects. She reached for the handle, but before her fingers touched it, a hand caught her wrist. "Renwick, do not open that door," he said. "Not yet. What is behind it? The first mistake, and the last." He guided her back, the mirrors groaning as they passed. She glanced once more and saw herself, eyes black, smiling again. When they reached the staircase, Eloise whispered, "What am I, really?" Renwick hesitated. "You are the gate, and she is already reaching through you." The next night, the dreams changed. Eloise no longer dreamed of rooms or voices. She dreamed of being buried, dirt in her mouth, her lungs filled with whispers instead of air. Hands dragged her downward, but not in violence, in need. The house wanted her, not to kill her, to become her. She woke up gasping, her arms tangled in vines, actual vines. Ivy crept through the walls of her room, across her bed frame, curling around her ankles. Helena burst in with a knife and cut her free. "You're merging," she said. "It's happening faster than we thought." Eloise stared at the roots writhing on the floor. "Merging with what?" "The house," Helena replied. "With Evelyn. The longer you stay, the thinner the line gets. Then help me stop it." Helena's face darkened. "There may be only one way." Helena took Eloise to the attic. In the center, a circle of candles, bones, and salt. Symbols burned into the floor. A mirror covered by red velvet. "This is where Evelyn last appeared," she said. "We can draw her out, bind her, but you must remain in the circle." "What happens if I step out?" "You won't step out," Helena said flatly. "She'll pull you out." Eloise stepped into the circle. The ritual began, chanting, symbols glowing. Then the mirror twitched. The velvet burned away, revealing Evelyn inside, pale, bloodless, and grinning. Her eyes locked on Eloise, and her voice rang through the room. "Let me wear you." Eloise screamed. The candles went out, and Evelyn stepped through. The attic became a storm of wind and screams. Helena shouted incantations. The circle flared, but Evelyn was inside it now, her hands clawing the air, her smile stretching wider, wider. Renwick appeared with a blade of bone. "Now, Eloise," but Eloise couldn't move. Evelyn reached her. Their palms touched, and suddenly, Eloise wasn't in the attic anymore. She was inside the mirror. The world outside slowed, muted. Helena was frozen mid-scream, Renwick mid-strike, and Evelyn stood beside her, calm now. "You don't understand yet," Evelyn said, "but you will." She reached toward Eloise's chest. "You are not the end of the bloodline." She pressed her hand into Eloise's heart. "You are the beginning."